Okay. All right. I am back. I am back. Hello. Hello, YouTube. There we go. I need to move the computer over. I am also people watching here. I'm also, or if you're watching the replay, hi, my name is Dr. Abena Berry. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist. I'm also the author of this 5-star rated self-help book for healing and growth. You can find it by going to drabenaberry.com, or you can just search the title or my name. Let me move this, Dr. Abena Berry on Amazon, Barnes and Noble's website, everywhere. It's available everywhere that books are sold. But I'm going to be talking about mental health and trauma healing and whatever topics come up while I'm on live. I usually have less people on YouTube and more on TikTok, so I'll be looking at my TikTok screen. But if you are interested in learning more about my book, the best place to go is to my website. I'm going to put that in the chat. And like I said, it's available everywhere online, but my website's the only place where you can see the table of contents. You can find all the direct links with ease. So it just is a good starting point. But yeah, you can buy it on Amazon or wherever else. I'm so happy that you all are here. If you have not subscribed yet to my community, I hope that the information that you get today will help you consider joining. I'm just here helping humans continue to learn about how their brain works and heal from trauma and grow and all of that good stuff. So I only got like 40 minutes, so we're gonna make the most of it because I do have a therapy client. Sorry, the book is in shot for TikTok. That's why it looks like this. So I apologize for those over here. But yeah, this is my community of becomers, and I just want to help people. That's all. So thank you for watching if you're here. Okay. And I am now officially going live. Wait, what did it? No, hold on. I got to start over. TikTok is so weird. I'm telling you, man. Sorry, y'all. Figuring it out. That's what happened. No. So weird. It'll have to do. That's fine. Okay. It's doing something super weird. Give me a second, y'all. Sorry. The setup for TikTok is always longer. I don't want to waste a lot of time, so I'm going to have to make an executive decision. What is that? Yeah, that's so weird. Okay, executive decision made. Okay. It's fine. Overthinking today. I'm human too. Okay. It's fine. Okay. So just waiting for people to join the live. Like I said, I'm going to have about 40 minutes before I have to go. There we go. Maybe I should move this over here. Yeah, that's better. Hi, welcome in. Oh, you're a therapist. Or maybe I can't. Okay, I don't think I can. Well, actually, now I can do whatever I want to do because the setup is always such a challenging part of figuring out what to do. This is the way. Okay. For people watching on YouTube, please feel free to just skip past this part if you're watching the replay. I'm just trying to get my life together right now. There we go. Okay, I figured it out. Okay, waiting for people to join the live so we can start the conversation and so that I'm not just talking to myself. I promise I have so much good information to share and I want to answer questions. I usually don't go live at this particular time because I usually have a therapy client, but today I had some rescheduling that happened. So I'm actually free. Yeah, I don't want to invite guests per se. Hi, welcome in. I'm trying to see how live is going to be at this time because I'm usually not in here at this time. Vincy, hello, welcome back. Good to see you. Thanks for coming back again today. I don't know how this is going to go because it's already moving very slow. But I am here. Oh, you're transporting. Okay, cool. I'm just glad that you're here. How are you all doing today? Vincy, how are you feeling? How are you both doing? Things are moving slow again with TikTok. So I'm like, ugh. Oh, that's okay. I'm not staying long either. I actually have to get off in about what time is it? 4:24. I got to get off at 5. You're overwhelmed? What's overwhelming you? Maybe I can help a little bit. A lot going on, trying to stay present. Yeah, no, totally. You're so just balancing a lot and feeling overwhelmed by it all. Yeah. So hopefully you're finding ways to ground yourself. Even in the midst of it, like it's not gonna, of course, make all of those things magically go away, but it may be like feeling overwhelmed may mean that you're just really in a desperate need for some intentional like grounding. So there's so many ways to engage in that: mindfulness, meditation, being intentional, go on a walk, depending on where you live, starting your morning even a few minutes earlier, just so you can spend a little time connecting with yourself, journaling, list goes on and on. But hopefully you can find some time and pockets to just check in with yourself because it can help. And I don't know if you have a long to-do list, but like if you do, and it's swimming in your head, one of the best pieces of advice that I can give if you're feeling overwhelmed by tasks is just try to write out what you need to do and when you're going to do it. I know it seems so simple, but it makes a world of difference because when things are swimming in our head, it feels more overwhelming than it actually is in some ways. Sage, hi, good to see you. Welcome in. Welcome, welcome. You're welcome, my love. I hope you feel better. It's a lot going on. Today is a weird day. I don't know if other people have been feeling it, but I definitely have been feeling weird. So I feel like today is a weird day. I don't know what's going on in the stars or whatever, but it just feels strange. And again, TikTok is playing with me today, and that's okay. I'm just happy. I'm happy y'all are here. I'm grateful y'all are here. I appreciate you too. Thanks for being here again. And I'm glad I could try to help. Hopefully some of those tips could be helpful during this time. If you all could get for people who can physically touch their phone safely, if you could get some of the likes going, maybe that will help. Like I said, I'm grateful to be here regardless, but if we could get more people in the live, that would be cool too. I have to go in about 33 minutes anyway. So I'm just trying to make the most of the little bit of time. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate it. And if anybody you know is online right now, if you share it to them too, that helps. Even if they don't come in right away, it still helps if you don't mind sharing. How are you all? How's everybody else feeling today? Is it feeling like a weird day to other people too? Like energy wise. I feel like we were talking about this yesterday on live, right? The whole derealization, depersonalization stuff. Definitely been feeling a little bit more derealization today. Which again, for people who may not be familiar, it just means feeling like reality is not doesn't feel as real to you as it typically does. You're still aware that it's real, but it just feels off. But I personally think this is essentially kind of like a simulation or video game. So it makes sense that happens sometimes. It's like something with the wiring. Our brain is kind of like a radio frequency. Yeah, the energy does feel off, Vinci. I like it really does. It's okay. So multiple people are feeling it. Okay, it's not just me. Today is a weird fucking day. Okay, it's weird. I don't know what I don't nothing like happened bad or whatever, but the energy is strange. Hi Coco, welcome back. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. But yeah, it's a weird day, man. Strange. So y'all keep taking care of yourself. Check in with yourself. Have a good cry if you haven't had a good cry recently. Crying is so healing and healthy and helpful. I know a lot of us were taught, stigmatizing things about crying or feeling, but remember that emotions are energy. So if you don't release, whatever you don't release stays within and it starts impacting you in other ways. This is why people who suppress a lot will often be very angry and volatile towards other people in their life. They have all this pent up, built up stuff, right? Or they'll be constantly trying to numb themselves or find, some temporary outlets for it. JB, you said you want to cry, but you can't. And then also, hold on, let me read Sage's comment first. And then JB, I'm going to respond to what you just said. So please stay put. I have some helpful tips. Okay, I'm doing better. Had genetic testing today. Find out options for conception on Monday. Yeah, so exciting. That is so exciting. Oh, and you got the genetic testing. That's wonderful. I'm so glad that things are still chugging along in a positive way, Sage. So excited for you and your growing family. And thank you for including me, and telling me about that. That's really cool. I appreciate it. That's special to be aware of such a precious time of your life. So, JB, you said I want to cry, but I can't. This is such a common thing. So one of the biggest contributing factors to this, I'm just going to pin your comment just so people who come in while I'm talking know what I'm responding to. But JB, a big part of this is there's a more than likely, I don't know you, right? So I'm just speculating based off of what I know as being a scientist and psychologist and doing therapy with people and all of that, that one of the common culprits for that is obviously going to be rooted in trauma. I don't think that surprises anybody, but specifically going back to your origin story around how did people respond to you when you were young, when you did cry? Because remember, when you came into the world, you had no problem with crying. It was your first language, right? We cry different ways when we're really young to get our needs met. So it's something that we biologically rely on. It's something that we come into the world being very, very, very comfortable with. And it's our only source of communication, really, until we learn one of the made up languages that humans have created, right? So when you think back, it can help you connect the dots. The reason why I'm encouraging you to think back is because when something has felt like it's been a certain way for a really long time, and we're not really thinking about how it got that way, because it hasn't always been this way, right? When you were a baby, you cried. When you were a toddler, you cried. So think back to when did that stop being something that was easy enough for you to do when you needed to anyway. And so when we can think back, it helps us stop seeing this as a fixed part of our identity. Sometimes we subconsciously believe we can't, and our brain is that powerful. So if we believe we can't, that can become true. That's what we call a self-fulfilling prophecy. So the blocker can be psychological. The mind is really powerful. So when we can go back to our origin story of when did these things kind of start unfolding, what experiences, what traumas, what people, whatever, it just can help you disconnect from that idea that this is a fixed part of your personality or something that has to stay this way. And it opens up the possibility over time for you to start having an easier time reconnecting. You also can practice reconnecting outside of just exploring your own story and validating yourself with how it got to this point so that you can start unlearning that conditioning. You also can intentionally sit with yourself and do things that force you to kind of slow down and go within, like meditation, right? And things like that, journaling, etc. If you find it easier to express and release emotion from watching something like a show or piece of media, then you can use that to help bring up suppressed emotion from your own life. Intentionally watch something that connects to you in some kind of way. And sometimes it's kind of like we play this trick on our mind to reestablish that connection because you feel safer feeling it about whatever you're watching, because it feels a little like one removed from you. It can help you start reconnecting with self in those ways too. It's obviously going to take time and intentionality, but we have to break the mentality that we're stuck this way, because you are still capable of crying. Like, you are physically capable of it, and your body really needs it, right? You really need it. We all do. Yes, today does feel off. So yeah, I see y'all still validating that. I'm gonna pin that one. It does. It's a strange day. I don't know. I would love to do a live with you and to discuss applying the knowledge while navigating the matrix. I would love that, Vinci. Yes, we could definitely find a time to do that for sure. You can send me a DM. We can definitely find a time to do that. That's you. If you can't tell yet, that's like one of my favorite things to discuss in general. Anything related to helping people remember that society is socially constructed by us, and that helps people get back in touch with their truest selves and keep connecting with themselves authentically. Basically any of the like spells that the matrix can kind of put on a person. I mean, when we say matrix, y'all, I'm assuming people know what we're talking about, but people often use the term matrix to describe like being here on earth because it's kind of like we're souls having a human experience. It's like a simulation in a video game, and you're kind of trying to beat the video game. Part of that though is remembering that you are a soul having a human experience, and that a lot of the things that you are maybe unintentionally allowing to pigeonhole you, right, or rules that you're following, you're forgetting that they are socially constructed, so they may be preventing you from figuring out who you actually are. Okay, I'm catching up on the comments, y'all. So give me a moment, especially in the black community. We internalize a lot of things. Yes, Mr. Kool-Aid, absolutely, because we really have no outlets. A few. Yes. This is a huge problem because of still trying to recover from. Oh, and Michelle, thank you for the gift. I did see you send that. I'm so sorry. I'm like, my brain said it in here, but not out loud. Anyway, so thank you for that. I appreciate it. But yeah, Mr. Kool-Aid, what I was gonna say is, yeah, we're still recovering from survival mode, very much so, because, well, slavery wasn't that long ago. Segregation wasn't that long ago. And we still have a lot of problems within humanity across the board. With how we treat one another and everything. So historically, emotional suppression was what people did to survive. It in itself is a trauma response, right? Emotional suppression is a trauma response in itself. And we have to recognize that. And so that's why it's also so toxic and harmful, right? It's a part of a survival mechanism. It's not a part of thriving, right? To suppress or to disconnect from other people. Things have felt off since the time change. Maybe that's it. Yeah, something strange. I don't know. I don't know. But today is extra weird. Hi, best friend. Welcome in, Ashley. Good to see you, bestie. How are you so young yet so what? Oh, JB, that's so sweet. So I don't know if it was like a real question, but I'm gonna answer it. So I know a lot of us have been taught that age equals wisdom. But it's not that black and white, right? Like it's not like just because you have more candles on your birthday cake, you're going to somehow be more wise or intelligent, right? Y'all hear me talk about this all the time, that our biological age is automatic, right? You don't have to do anything to biologically age. We're all sitting here getting older right now, but your mental and emotional age are a product of your experiences, how much knowledge you seek, how much time and effort and intentionality you put into connecting with yourself, nurturing yourself, healing yourself, your willingness to seek help, all of that stuff. So I really value learning. We all do at our core. We all do at our core, but trauma has caused people to disconnect from that. But human nature is to be like essentially to be a scientist yourself, right? Little kids are little scientists. So we all come into the world extremely curious, wanting to understand, wanting to learn, hungry for knowledge, as if it's a meal, as if we need it, right? For sustenance. But when trauma happens, when you grow up in environments where you can't ask questions, where nobody takes accountability, where it's not safe to learn, right, from your mistakes because there's abuse in response to those mistakes, it can shut people off from their open-mindedness, their curiosity, their desire for growth, because as a survival mechanism, they weren't able to do that in the home they grew up in, and then they may get older and not be in that environment anymore, but it's all they know at that point, right? Because they're not maybe questioning it because you've learned not to be curious, right? A human being no longer being curious is a huge red flag because it is in our natural, like it's in our natural design to be curious. It's in our natural design to want to learn. So when we are no longer curious anymore, that is a reflection of the trauma that was done to us. So yeah, I well, I think everyone has trauma. I don't think you can live life and not, but a lot of us have experienced a lot of harmful and preventable traumas. And I have had some throughout my life when I was younger that actually led to me wanting to learn more about human behavior. So at a really young age, I started reading books like the one I wrote that is about, because this is my book that I wrote. But that was about understanding the human mind and why people do what they do and all of that. I was drawn to it because my mom is a nurse, so I already knew we studied human beings, and then I wanted to understand even more about our emotions, thoughts, and behaviors. So I was like around 8, 9 years old when I started reading books like that. So yeah, I've had a lot of years of learning about those things, but we're all capable of this. I am a reflection of you, like we're a reflection of one another. We represent the capabilities, the possibilities for one another. So I like to remind people that if you are admiring something in someone, if you think I'm intelligent or well-spoken or wise, it's like, yeah, and you are and can be as well, right? I'm not doing anything that some other human can't do. Right? It's just about what we choose to invest our time and energy into. And obviously we can't all be, knowledgeable experts on everything, right? And all of us in here are experts on something, right? Every single one of us. But we do have to allow ourselves to seek knowledge about things that affect all of us, which would include like how the brain works and psychology and all that stuff. But yeah. But you also might be perceiving me as younger than I actually am. I don't know how old you think I mean, I am young, right? But I don't know how old you think I am. I don't mind sharing. I'm 34. Everyone seems sapped of energy. Yep. I have stuck myself in the what would my mom say? Sapped of energy. It wasn't safe to not perform at a level I was told to be at. Yeah, performance. So many people from their trauma were pulled into being forced to perform, right? We got to remember we're animals at our core. We talk about that all the time, right? We're mammals, y'all. We're part of the animal kingdom. I understand we build buildings and drive cars, but other animals do similar things too. It looks different, sure, but they create things for themselves. They invent things for their communities too. We are part of the animal kingdom. I think because we have like taken over so much space on Earth, we think we're like separate, but we're not. But when we remind ourselves of that, it helps us also understand that when trauma happens, especially during a young age, when our brain is still developing, when we are susceptible, even more susceptible, more vulnerable, more confused, that leaves us in a state that can really shift and alter how we behave, how we think, and all of that. And we have to awaken ourselves to how those experiences affected us so that we can actually get back on track with who we authentically are, right? People, I don't know the actual statistic on this because we don't have the statistic on this, but what I can guarantee you is that I would think that a majority of people are still living life according to what their trauma conditioned them to be instead of according to who they actually are. And so it is fueling more mental health struggles and problems, because humans at our core, we desperately want to be our authentic selves. This is also why people can be very triggered by other humans who have found a path back to their authentic selves, who are exploring and asking questions, and wearing clothes for self-expression or whatever it may be. And it can be sometimes triggering, like it's upsetting to another individual, and you might be like, why is it so upsetting to you that this person wants to dye their hair green? It's actually because that's affecting something inside of you that maybe you don't feel like you are living as free in the version of your truest self that you are, right? And it might be more performative, but it's not your fault. Like that's what trauma has been doing on a mass level. A lot of people still don't understand that we're supposed to be raising little humans to engage in self-discovery, to figure out who they actually are. And instead, they're accidentally brainwashing them from a young age to believe stereotypes of the time, right? Before they even know what the color blue is, they're trying to tell their son that their favorite color is blue. No, that's your genitalia doesn't determine things like that. That's not how that actually works. A human being is no longer being curious is a huge red flag. Yes, Vinci. Yeah, that was my quote. Thank you. No, it's huge. We got to remember how we start life. If you really want to awaken, like quickly, maybe not quickly, but to start a new awakening, think about how you started life compared to how you are now, right? And if anything has become completely stripped of you, that is a red flag. So if you were once extremely curious and maybe quirky and whatever else, like that's a part of you that was supposed to be nurtured. Sure, it's going to look different once you're an adult, how it manifests, but a complete absence of it is strange, right? Like a complete removal of something that you came into the world, just organically doing. It's like, sure, we don't know who we are yet as an infant, but even more so because we don't know who we are yet as an infant, a lot of what we are doing, thank you so much, Michelle, a lot of what we are doing is rooted in the early stages of that authentic self-discovery, right? It has to be honed, right? This is why we got to be taught emotional intelligence and emotional regulation, because we can't grow up still throwing ourselves on the floor because we didn't get a chocolate at the store or something, right? We can't be 40 years old doing that, right? People have to teach us how to manage and regulate our emotions. But a lot of people's experiences pulled them to a complete extreme. Thank you so much, Michelle. I appreciate you. Such an extreme where there isn't just like there's like an absence, right? They're like suppressing everything that they feel other than happiness or whatever. And that's not what's supposed to be happening. Supposed to be learning how to manage our human experiences, not reject them or suppress them. Yeah, wisdom knows no age, exactly. And we can gain wisdom from people of all ages, right? I have had so many major insights and epiphanies and all of that from being around and raising my son. He is one of my greatest teachers, because all the stuff that I learned in school and read in books, it's so interesting seeing it in a human though, from the origins of it, right? It clicks in a different way. It's one thing to learn through, reading and all that, which is still extremely valuable, of course. But it's another thing to see what you maybe read manifest in front of you. So it's very eye-opening. Yeah, we perform, we pretend, we people please. Yes, we are animals. Absolutely. I'm still catching up with comments, y'all. And I have about 15 minutes before I have to go. So we are not the most intelligent of the animals, physically and emotionally. We are not. No, you are correct. We are not. We are not, Michelle. I think I don't know if we could be. What's most intelligent, right? There's so many types of intelligences, but I agree with you. We are way more behind than I think people would like to maybe realize or admit. I think there are a lot of animals that are doing way better than we are when it comes to how they work in community. I think of one thing that's coming to mind for me is ants and bees. I'm not saying that of course there are ways that we are more maybe skilled or intelligent than ants or bees, but they are beating us big time in how they form community, work together. They are kicking our ass, right? So we are behind. Our mental and emotional ages have been stunted because of the cycles of unresolved generational trauma, because of the use of abuse and calling that teaching. Abuse is not teaching. Abuse will stop a behavior possibly. Usually it just stops the behavior around you. It doesn't actually replace the behavior. But yes, we're animals. Any animal, regardless of what kind of animal, if you're harming it, is going to try to, number one, get away from you, and number two, stop doing the thing around you so you'll stop harming it. But did I teach you anything? Right? If I come to you as your boss and I say, hey, I really want you to work on your communication skills, right? I just say that to you. And then a month later, I come and give you feedback and I say, hey, you haven't worked on your communication skills. You might be like, well, I didn't really know what you meant by that. You didn't help me in any kind of way. You didn't give me any kind of feedback. You didn't give me alternatives of what I could do differently. Or imagine if I came back in a month and I just physically harmed you. Would that be teaching you a skill? No, of course not. So the brain is not being fed by abuse, right? Oh, well, it's being fed the wrong thing. It's being fed junk food instead of being fed like a Michelin star meal. So when we actually teach and take our time and have realistic expectations of human development based on what we know scientifically, the brain is able to flourish, right? Y'all have heard me say this before, like, I think a lot of the children that we see, like you'll see like other people's kids sometimes through social media and stuff. And I see comments where people are like, oh my gosh, your kid must be a genius and all of this. And it's like, no, the kid is really intelligent. I'm not taking anything from the child, but I'm like, but this is also what happens when humans are being taught and not abused, right? Like this could have been everybody, right? And sure, again, there's different types of intelligences and it's going to manifest and look different from person to person. But people are often so impressed by the child who can express their emotions or who can communicate well. I'm like, yeah, because they're growing up in a home where they're being taught. It's not because they're a genius. It's because their brain is being fed. And they may have genius-like qualities, some of them, but the vast majority, it's like, no, they're just being taught. Their parents are actually teaching them and breaking things down and using natural consequences. And this is how we help break this pattern of letting humans get biologically older but be mentally and emotionally stunted. The average 50-year-old is still mentally and emotionally a child. That's not how that's supposed to be, right? They don't know how to regulate their emotions, communicate, especially when they're feeling angry or whatever it may be. They don't know how to make good decisions or problem solve. They don't know how to nurture relationships or show up in relationships in a way that is respectful of themselves and others, because those things have to be taught. Remember, we'll biologically age regardless. We're just sitting here biologically aging. So we have to make sure we're nurturing the mind so people don't get bigger. Because y'all already know, I say this in my book, like an adult temper tantrum is road rage, somebody hurting somebody physically because they called them out their name, whatever. But don't y'all see how that's exactly, it's just a worse version, right? Because the person has gotten bigger. It's a worse version of what happens when we're 1-2 years old and dysregulated. So it's like, oh, when you think about it, it's like this person, right? This person is mentally and emotionally, their skill set to manage and regulate their emotions is still paralleling where they were at when they were a child. But now it's dangerous. It's not them just throwing a toy because they got angry, right? Or whatever, because that was normal at that age. And people were supposed to use consistency, patience, repetition, natural consequences, which are non-abusive, right? After you help your child co-regulate, natural consequences would be once they're calm, saying, hey, buddy, we got to clean this up. We can't, you can't throw your noodles on the floor because you're upset, right? That's not how we express ourselves. So you maybe sing a cleanup song with them because they're 4, they're still learning, but you still are engaging in teaching them accountability, self-awareness, natural consequences. You're honest with them about how their actions affected you, the action, not them, because they're, you don't want your child to mistakenly think you're saying they're bad or something. No, they're just learning. This is a part of human development. So instead, you're letting them know, that was really upsetting, right? That happened. Like, mommy felt sad, or mommy, that's not bad to say that. That's good. How else does your child learn to perspective take how their behaviors impact other people? We can't wait to teach them that when they're 30. We got to teach them that while their brain is developing, right? And this is why we have so many adults walking around that do actions and are quick to be defensive and not take any accountability or go, well, you saying I hurt you? Well, let me tell you how you hurt me, right? Because they never learned how important it is to really sit and self-reflect and own your stuff and all of that. Anyway, there's so much I can say, but just remember, we're a product of everything that's happened to us. And teaching, like great teaching or great parenting, think of the best teacher you had in school. I say this all the time. Whoever was your favorite teacher, who really held you accountable, stimulated your mind, taught you stuff. Did that person ever abuse you? No. Did that person expect you to learn something because they told it to you one time? No. Did that person have unrealistic expectations in general of you and your development? Did you come to the first day of class and they give you the final and say, "Oh, you don't know this yet"? No, of course not. Because they'd be like, "Well, I didn't teach you, so how could you know?" And when the class was doing bad at the result wise, if the whole class was showing up with less than what they would expect in terms of like understanding of the material, that teacher would take accountability and say, okay, we gotta figure something out. Sure, if it's one student here or there, there may be something going on with the student that they just need additional support, but they would still check in with that student. But let's say the whole class was struggling, they would be reflective. A great teacher would say, maybe I need to reach out to my colleagues and get some tips. Maybe I need to do something, like, because it is still about community. But yeah, we have to realize that we are a product of all the things, but we also get to decide what conditions us going forward, right? It doesn't have, who you are today is not all you have to be, unless you decide, because the brain is that powerful. Okay, let me catch up before I have to go. I have to go in 6 minutes. I was constantly conflicted as his mom. Bees, yes, yeah, Michelle. No, bees are killing it. They work in community. We humans need to take notes. Okay, I hated that. Moms bullying moms. Arrested development is a real thing. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Okay, I caught up. Cool. I thought I had more to catch up to. But yeah, no, it really, really is. So it's just, whenever I talk about these things, this would kind of be what I leave you all with, I guess. But whenever I talk about these things, I try to do my best. I'm human too, but I try to do my best. I don't want people to take the message as like being attacked. I know there are sensitivities around reflecting on these things, because a lot of us were taught to go immediately on the defense when something is brought to our attention, right? Because it wasn't safe. It wasn't safe. We maybe had environments where adults didn't take responsibility for their actions, or they modeled to you, when somebody calls you out about something, even if they do it in a thoughtful way, appropriate way, a respectful way, you attack, no matter what. You tell them who they are, right? Like, that's what was modeled to you. And humans learn that from what they're seeing around them. This is why I saw a video earlier today where a dad was saying that he had thanked his wife because she had just finished, I think, making lunch or something. And then immediately his 3 sons all said, "Thank you, mom. Thank you, mom. Thank you, mom." And he was reflecting on, like, man, they're really just watching what you do. And it's like, yes, that's how we're like ducks. You know how ducks imprint and start like following it's like literally that. So this is why, if you took a object your child's never seen and you started using it in a way it's not used, your child would still mimic that, because they're relying on you to teach them about the world, about relationships, and not just you as the parent, but the adults in general. They mimic what they see. It's not you brought up addiction. Yeah, exactly. Addiction of anything, teachers, children, young. I was going to say with addiction though, Michelle, like, even that, right? That's a prime example. Sure, we know that things are nature and nurture, but emphasis on nurture, man. The impact of nurture and development is massive. And often, I want a different word. The word that comes to mind, I don't want to say, which is Trump, but Trump's. I was going to say Trump's nature. I can't think of an alternative right now. But anyway, because I didn't want to say that guy's name. Anyway, but it's like a big deal, because our brain is under construction when we come into the world. It doesn't finish developing for the first 25 to 30 years. So it's so like so thank you. Surpasses. Thank you, Andrew. Surpasses. So I honestly think, science is still sciencing, right? We're still studying ourselves. We're going to be studying ourselves forever. So we do not have all the answers. We are far from it, right? But we got a lot to learn. Y'all heard me. This one blew people's mind when I made this video like a year ago about the interceptium. If you haven't heard about it, it's actually a part of the human body that was named in 2018. People were shocked that we were still naming parts of the human body. I was like, but that's not that surprising. given the fact that we've only explored 1% of the ocean, 1% of the rainforest, we can't even leave this galaxy. I know humans love to pretend like they got all the answers. The truth is we are far from it. I would suggest we have 0.01% of what we're supposed to know or what we will know to come. So because things are still evolving and advancing, we have to be willing to just keep taking in the things that we're learning over time that just are showing us that they're factual. And one of those things is that human development and childhood experiences and trauma are a big deal, a massive deal. Like every human problem comes back to childhood trauma or trauma in general. Like it just does. Like it's like you will meet somebody and you'll say, why does Todd, hopefully this is nobody's name in here, but you'll be like, why does Todd act like this? What happened to Todd? Why does Todd come to work and do this? Da-da-da. And then you might, if you don't allow yourself to think critically enough about it, you're gonna be like, oh, Todd just woke up today to piss me off. No, I promise you, if you give me 2 hours with Todd, I'll be able to tell you if he'll talk to me about his upbringing, I'll be able to tell you exactly why he acting like this, right? And that's not a coincidence. It's rooted in unresolved traumas. So we have to realize that that's happening all around us all the time. But I don't want people to feel shame when things are brought to their attention. Well, sorry. I don't want you to feel toxic shame. Feeling shame is normal. Actually, shame is a catalyst for change. So healthy amounts of shame, I cover shame in my book as well. Healthy amounts of shame is actually conducive and important for development. But so many of us, again, abuse was used in replacement of actual teaching and discipline, that you develop what's known as toxic shame. So then that's where defensiveness can come from and all that. But anyway, I don't want people to be like, oh, well, you know how like when you try to tell somebody like, hey, this is the way you hurt me, and they're like, oh, I guess I'm just a bad person then, right? Like I don't want that to be anybody's like left, like where they end up in response to what I'm saying. That's not the point. We all have things to work on. It's just like we have to acknowledge these things for what they are if we're going to change them. That's all. There's no shame. There's no shame in recognizing like, hey, maybe I thought I was here in my development, but I'm actually here, right? Like, okay, if we can just own that we're here, we can actually work to being here. But if we keep making excuses when people are giving us critical feedback to help our development, then we stay stuck. So, it's like we're responsible for our healing and growth, but we also are not to blame for the trauma that was done to us. More than one thing can be true at the same time. So I have deep empathy for us all. Like I know that like none of us asked for this. None of us asked to have to learn, these skills in adulthood when you were supposed to be taught a lot of the foundation of them from 1 year old up. Like imagine who you'd be if you were really taught, and maybe you were. So for people who weren't, imagine how you would have been able to turn out if you were actually taught emotional intelligence and emotional regulation from 1 year old. That's like me saying, how good do you think you'd be at playing piano if you were taught piano from 5 years old? You'd be a crazy good pianist, right? And it's so important. I have to go, but I'm gonna say this last thing. It's so important for us to remember these things are skills. That's my point. So trauma has caused a lot of us to feel like we're stuck and stagnant. And it's like, I don't know how to do this. So then it just is what it is. No, that's called learned helplessness. I have a whole chapter of it in my book as well. Learned helplessness has plagued humans. It has caused you to forget that your brain is designed to learn. You are not stuck anywhere. You're not stuck in it. You're not stuck. I know it can feel like you're stuck. That's real. Like the emotion is real, but you're not actually stuck. You can still learn skills. You can still evolve and advance. It's just important to have like realistic expectations of what the healing and growth actually looks like. I wish I had more time to get into that because people often have the wrong idea of what actual healing and growth looks like, but I have to go. But I love you all. Hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully people feel okay. Or whatever you're feeling, explore it. It's important. Your feelings are there for a reason. I was taught I was shameful of myself. Yes, Jessica. Yeah, exactly. Like that's toxic shame though. That's why I wanted to clarify. Regular shame, like there's healthy shame and toxic shame. Next time I get on live, I'm happy to read that excerpt from my book if people would like, because I do cover toxic shame and healthy shame in there. But I do have to go. Sending everybody love and light. Jessica, thank you so much for the gift. Thank you, Andrew, for helping me remember an alternative word, because that happens a lot. And I'm like, what is an alternative word? Because in the moment I can't get one. But now I'm going to remember surpasses. Thank y'all so much. I love you all. I appreciate you all. I value you all because we're all in this human experience together. If people are looking for a therapist or a coach or want to work with me, you can send me a DM. I don't have a way to let y'all know here on TikTok where you can go unless you send me a message, because TikTok doesn't let me say anything but TikTok. So just send me a DM if you're interested in any working with me. I'm also going to be creating groups. I want to create groups. Let me know, y'all, if y'all would be interested in maybe a monthly or every other week group where we're doing psychoeducation and connecting, and it would be a very reasonable small kind of group fee. It's not going to be unreasonable, but just for compensation for my time. But it would allow for people to have more of a one-on-one experience with me, but it'll be like a small intimate group, and we'll run those for 8 weeks or something like that. Okay, yeah, no, it won't be DBT. But yeah, so send me a DM too if that interests you, because then I can tell you where to go sign up for that, because I need people's information so that once it happens, I can let you know. I would love that too. A book club with my book. Yeah, that would be great. So yeah, send me a DM. Let me know what you're interested in. Feel free to send me a message. I do have to go. Sending everyone love and light. Thank y'all so much for being here, and I will see you all next time.